Be connected to your world. Baina TV, connected to your world.
Hello, good afternoon to you and welcome to Baina Midday News. This news is coming to you live from Benap House, Atomic Junction, Medina. My name is Sherifatu Ayuba. Coming up in this afternoon's bulletin. The New Patriotic Party has begun processes to expel Professor Kwabena Frimpong Boateng following comments he made where he described the party as fake and distanced himself from its membership. And in business, the Minister for Trade paid a working visit to the Abossey-Okai spare parts market in Accra as part of the government's effort to ensure fair pricing and protect consumers in the auto parts sector. And on the international front, Somalia has cancelled all agreement with the United Arab Emirates, citing what it called strong evidence of actions undermining the country's sovereignty and unity. This and many more stories coming up shortly. Thank you for staying with us. You can watch this news live on Facebook and on YouTube at Baina TV. Now the news in details. The New Patriotic Party has announced that it has begun processes to expel Professor Kwabena Frimpong Boateng following comments he made in a television interview in which he described the party as a fake and distanced himself from its membership. The party rejected the allegation, stating that it unequivocally rejects Professor Frimpong Boateng's unfortunate characterization of the NPP and firmly denies his baseless and unsubstantiated allegations regarding the conduct of the 2023 presidential primary.
Professor Frimpong Boateng, a former Minister of Environment, Science, Technology and Innovation, made the remarks during an interview on The Point of View with Bernard Affley on Channel 1 TV on Monday, January 12, 2026, where he criticized the party's current state, saying it no longer reflects the value of the NPP he once knew. When asked whether he still considered himself a member of the party, Professor Frimpong Boateng said he no longer associates with what he described as the current version of the NPP. party. He also warned it re-electing former Vice President Dr. Mahmoud Bawumia as the party's flag bearer would be a train wreck for the party. In response, the NPP, in a statement issued on Tuesday, January 2026, and signed by its General Secretary Justin Kodua Frimpong, said it had taken serious exception to Professor Frimpong Boateng's remarks. According to the statement, the former minister not only questioned the credibility of the party, but also alleged that the NPP presidential primary was rigged in favor of Dr. Mahmoud Bawumia, the party's presidential candidate for 2024 general election. The NPP insisted that the primary was conducted in a free, fair, transparent, and credible manner and was widely accepted by all candidates who participated as well as by party members as a true reflection of the will of delegates. It further described Professor Frimpong Boateng's comments and conduct as highly reprehensible and damaging to the unity, values, and integrity of the party. Consequently, the statement said the party has invoked the relevant provisions of its constitution to commence the necessary processes to expel him, stressing that all steps will be carried out strictly in accordance with due process.
Air pollution across major cities in Ghana continue to rise, with new findings showing harmful fine particles for far above safe health limits. Researchers warn that the trend poses a great threat to public health, especially in densely populated urban centers. The study, led by Dr. Dan Westervelt, Lambert Associate Research Professor of Columbia University's Lambert Doherty Earth Observatory, analyzed 20 years of satellite data, weather patterns, and ground-level readings. It found persistently high concentrations of fine particulate matter in Accra, Kumasi, and Tamale, 5 to 10 times higher than the World Health Organization's guideline of 5 micrograms per cubic meter.
PM2.5 refers to dust and smoke particles small enough to enter deep into the lungs and bloodstream, causing heart disease, lung damage, stroke, and asthma. Dr. Westervelt said that Accra recorded the highest pollution levels driven by heavy traffic, industrial activities, household burning, and emissions from diesel power generators. He said Kumasi and Tamale were also heavily impacted by local pollution sources and long-distance dust transport from the Sahara during the Harmattan season. Dr. Westervelt noted that the study, founded by the Clean Air Fund, showed Tamale experienced the strongest Harmattan peaks, with concentrations sometimes exceeding 100 micrograms per cubic meter. Dr. Westervelt urged authorities to adopt stricter measures to reduce emissions from transport, waste burning, and industrial activities. He also recommended increased public education and real-time air quality monitoring to help residents avoid exposure during high pollution periods. Dr. Westervelt warned that without swift intervention, air pollution would continue to shorten life expectancy, strain the health system, and threaten Ghana's progress toward cleaner, healthier cities. Air pollution remains one of Ghana's deadliest public health threats. In 2023 alone, it claimed over 32,000 lives, according to the State of Global Air 2025 report by the Health Effects Institute and the Institute for Health Metrics and Evaluation. The report showed that air pollution caused nearly 14% of all deaths in Ghana last year, making it the country's second leading risk factor after high blood pressure. The WHO earlier estimated that about 28,000 Ghanaians died prematurely in 2019 due to polluted air. By 2025, the figure had risen by more than 4,000, signaling a disturbing trend. The Air Quality Life Index 2025 report also noted that the dirty air was cutting nearly 0.8 years, or about 9 months, from the average Ghanaian's life expectancy. Global deaths from air pollution remains around 7.9 million, with Ghana recording a comparatively high burden.
Now, moving on, the Ghana Police Service has arrested 7 suspected members of a human trafficking syndicate and rescued 48 victims in 2 separate intelligence-led operations in Ho in the Volta region. The arrests were carried out on January 8 and 10, 10, 2026 at Fiavedabla Ayekple Street, Horsey K Road and Some Junction.
The suspects have been identified as Emmanuel Isiama, Frimpong Jerry, Paul Mensah, Bismarck Perry, Vaida Jifa, Ebenezer Kwabena Owusu, and Prince Kaku. Police say the 48 victims, mostly young adults and students, were lured with promises of overseas travel and subsequently held under deceptive and coercive conditions. Searches conducted at the various locations led to the retrieval of official receipts allegedly issued to victims after collecting money under the guise of securing visas for travel abroad, as well as other documents linked to suspected fraudulent activities. All 7 suspects are currently in police custody, assisting with investigations. Efforts are underway to trace the parents or relatives of the rescued victims and to arrest other suspects believed to be connected to the trafficking syndicate who are still at large. The Ghana Police Service has reaffirmed its commitment to dismantling organized criminal networks and protecting the public from human trafficking and related scams.
The Kumasi Metropolitan Assembly has issued a second evacuation notice to occupants along the Santasi runabout to Asokwa Interchange Corridor, urging them to vacate the area by January 20th, 2026 to allow ongoing road construction works to continue smoothly. In a statement dated January 12, 2026, the Assembly said the notice applies to car dealers, mechanics, taxi operators, traders, squatters, owners of temporary structures and billboards who are still operating along the stretch.
The KMA recalled that an earlier directive issued on September 24, 2025 required all affected occupants to leave the area by November 1, 2025. However, the Assembly noted that, despite several reminders, some individuals have refused to comply. According to the statement, construction of the dual carriage road linking Santasi to the Asokwa interchange has already begun, and full cooperation from the public is needed to ensure the project is completed on schedule. The Assembly disclosed that engineers from the Ghana Water Company Limited and the Electricity Company of Ghana are currently relocating utility installations along the corridor to make way for the project. KMA therefore appealed to residents and traders to cooperate with the engineers and project officials to avoid delays. Owners of the affected garages were also advised to contact the National Disaster Management Organization and Fiscal Planning Department and the Department of Urban Roads for support and possibly reallocation. The Assembly urged the public to comply with the evacuation directive in the interest of timely completion of the road project, which is expected to improve traffic flow and road safety in the metropolis.
Well, on this note, we go for a quick break. We'll be back with business and more. Do stay.
It's back again. It's bigger and better. Brace yourselves for the 3rd edition of the biggest pre-Ramadan fair in town. It's the Baina Trade Connect 2026. 2 days of endless sales and unmatched vibes. Mark your calendars on the 14th and 15th February 2026 at Zurak Park, Libya Cortez, Medina from 8 a.m. to 8 p.m. each day. Come trade, come connect, come shop and have fun. To book a stand, contact 053-948-7757. Baina Trade Connect 2026. See you there.
You're welcome back. You're still watching Bena Midday News on Bena TV. Now let's move on to some business story. The Minister for Trade and Agribusiness, Agribusiness and Industry, Elizabeth Ofosu-Adjare, has paid a working visit to the Abossey-Okai spare parts market in Accra as part of the government's effort to ensure fair pricing and protect consumers in the auto parts sector. The visit aimed at assessing the current price of vehicles, spare parts, and engage traders on the challenges affecting their operations. Mrs. Ofosu-Adjare was accompanied by the Mayor of Accra, Michael Kpakpo Alote, and the President of the Ghana Trade Unions Association, Clement Boateng.
During the visit, the minister held a closed-door meeting with executives of the Spare Parts Dealers Association to gather first-hand information on market condition. Addressing the traders, the minister explained that her visit was followed up to an earlier engagement held a few weeks ago at the ministry, where discussions centered on stability of the Ghanaian cedi and the need for traders to reflect the improved currency performance in their pricing. She stressed the government's commitment to ensuring fairness and transparency in the pricing of goods, particularly items that directly affect transport costs and the general cost of living. The president of the Abossey-Okai Market Association, Henry Otre Jr., acknowledged that prices of spare parts had significantly reduced in recent weeks. However, he identified the activities of middlemen, popularly known as affairs, as a major challenge. According to him, these middlemen often intercept car owners and sell spare parts at inflated prices, creating the false impression that Abossey-Okai traders are overpricing their goods. He added that some automobile fitters also take advantage of unsuspecting car owners by exaggerating the cost of parts. In response, Mrs. Ofosu-Adjare disclosed the government's plan to establish a police post at the entrance of the market to clamp down on activities of unscrupulous middlemen. She, however, urged spare parts dealers to urgently explore ways of integrating and formally employing some of these individuals to promote order and accountability within the market. The trade minister commended the spare parts dealers for their cooperation and assured them of the government's continued engagement, urging sustained collaboration in support of Ghana's industrialization and economic transformation agenda. The mayor of Accra, Michael Kpakpo Alote, also announced that by the first week of February, the government would create a designated car park along Agboboloshi stretch to decongest the Abossey-Okai area. He noted that the move would improve accessibility and encourage car owners to deal directly with shop owners.
Now, in some news beyond our borders, Somalia says it has cancelled all agreements with the United Arab Emirates, citing what it called strong evidence of actions undermining the country's sovereignty and unity. This announcement includes deals and partnerships related to 3 ports, as well as bilateral security and defense cooperation. The rift is reportedly due to the UAE's tacit support for Israel's recognition of the breakaway region of Somaliland as an independent state.
Mogadishu said the cancellation applies to all federal agencies, related agencies, and regional administrations, including all agreements and cooperation in the ports of Berbera, Bosaso, and Kismayo. The move also comes after the Saudi-led coalition in Yemen said the UAE has spirited a separatist leader out of the country via Berbera. Mogadishu described this as an alleged unauthorized use of Somalia's national airspace and airports. Abu Dhabi, built and controls the deep water port and military base, which is located in the Somaliland city in Berbera. The Somali cabinet instructed the Ministry of Foreign Affairs to formally notify the UAE of the decision to cancel agreements and coordinate its implementations, while also informing international and regional partners. Somalia said it remains open to international cooperation based on mutual respect, recognition of its unity and sovereignty, and adherence to constitutional and international principles. Somaliland declared independence in 1991 but was not recognized by any other nations until last month, when Israel became the first country to do so, provoking an immediate international backlash.
And now in sports, Ghana has been confirmed as the host nation for the 15th African Arm Wrestling Championship, scheduled to take place in Accra from April 29 to May 3, 2026. The announcement was made by the Arm Wrestling Federation of Africa, which revealed that the championship has been moved from its traditional July window to earlier in the year.
The 2026 edition will also serve as the qualification tournament for the arm wrestling competition at the 2027 African Games, raising the stakes for participating nations. AFA Secretary